What an episode. Man, this season, I'm telling you, they have literally hit it out the park. This was the best episode I've seen of the challenge, and I don't know how long. Like, look at my notes. I have never had, if I can hold the iPad, I have never had this many notes for the challenge since I've been on here recapping it. A1, and I'm so happy that I actually get to watch it now on Wednesdays since Big Brother's done, to where I can get these out whenever it happens, when it's hot, when the episode is hot. So make sure y'all thumbs up the video. Do that real quick. Get in the comments. Subscribe if you're new. Theo decided to show up. He decided to show up, but he got chewed up at that nominations. But he executed his plan, him and Olivia. Like I told you, I don't see it for either one of them. But I got to give props to what they do. He played the fuck out of that nigga. But we about to get into it. But let's go. All right, so we get back where we left off, which was Theo and Adrian winning that elimination that sent CT and Tay home. Theo's feeling good about Adrian, though. He's like, okay, we did it in an elimination. I feel good about her. I feel like we can actually really do this thing. But he was like, the super alliance is being formed against them, which is Ashley and Leo, Nani and Justin, Aviv and Yeremi, Michaela and Cedric, Turbo and Sydney, D and Derrick, and America and Leroy. A lot of my favorite teams are in there. But he says that he don't know what he's done to become public enemy number one. Theo made moves, but the thing is, he tries to play stupid. Like, you get my respect when you own the move and own it. You're public enemy number one because you're on the opposing side. You're literally dating the woman who is playing her own game, well, rightfully so. That's why I stay. I've been giving Olivia her props. Not a fan, but I will never downplay the game she's playing. She's playing a very smart but risky game, and you've attached yourself to her. I mean, like, that's your girlfriend, so of course you're gonna do that, but let's keep it real. But he's hoping that the others have conflict because he's going to essentially have to eliminate everybody to get to the final. But Jake, he ends up stating that he doesn't want to be a target due to Anissa's fights. You should have thought about that when you partnered with her. But Gabe starts talking about how Leo and Jake have been his boys since day one, but he don't have that connection with his partner, John A. And they're seen as layups. I said, by you? Like, you've competed well in the elimination. John A has won 2 of these challenges, and recently, she's not a layup. You look at her as a layup, but it's like she's ran 2 finals before. She's won 2 shows. She's won 2 seasons. Like, stop playing with her. But he says that she's not as connected in the house as him. You saw that you. We're gonna get to it. But Ashley, she's in the room with Aviv and Nani. They're talking numbers, and they're talking about how, like, Anissa's essentially in the middle. And Aviv tells us, like, I'm going to take care of her. She's probably going to take care of me as long as we can, essentially. Like, I'm going to take care of her as long as I can. But I know eventually she's going to go over there to Olivia's side if it's between me and Olivia. She ain't lying. Aviv is not stupid. But Aviv knows that they have the majority at this point, but shit can change. But Ashley then talks about how Sydney and Turbo can't keep burning the votes. That is true. At this point in the game, you cannot burn votes. Ask Leroy. Dirty 30. Veronica, when you playing with people that actually really know how to play the game, it's going to get you. But Nani said that she said that Turbo. No, she told. Nani told them that Turbo told. Yeah, Nani told them that Turbo had told her that burn votes don't matter. But like I just said, they do at this point. But Nani says that he essentially has to choose a side, even though he's friends with Theo. He does, but we'll get to it. Yeremi, Sydney, D, and America, they're talking about the stake your claim. Sydney and D don't want to be partnered up with Theo or Gabe. Like, she don't want either one of them snatching. They both don't want either one of them snatching them. And Sydney's like, let's get it to a point where let's stop going for Theo and Adrian to get heat off of them, thinking that we're coming for them so they don't feel like they have to stake a claim. Let's start stating Anissa and Jake. So Yeremi, he's worried because he knows that he loves being partnered with Aviv, but he knows other guys would love it as well. Aviv is a threat in this game. Like, she still is a threat like she was 2 decades ago. Like, she still is that. She's better than, in my opinion, I feel like she's better than what she was back then. And she looks 10 times, she looks even better. She gets better with age. Aviv looked good. Like, I was watching the episode tonight. When I was watching, I'm like, damn, she looked good as fuck. But we get to the daily challenge, and it's called Band Together. So they have these stations with a giant plank, and they have to walk to the end of the pipe and retrieve a flag. But they then have to go they have to go retrieve heavy items, and each of them items has a resistance band, which is going to keep the pipe straight so you can walk on it. But they'll use that to stabilize the pipe. First to walk out, get to the plank, get to the plane, get the flag, bring it back, and it's safe. They're safe. They win. The loser goes straight into the elimination. We're going to go right on through this. D and Derrick. Kosinski won a damn daily challenge. They win. Olivia, I had to talk about this though. Olivia threw shade because it was her, D, and Nani essentially the main ones at the beginning that were still trying to pretty much get first place. She threw shade talking about something. She stated that Nani, Justin and Nani are surprising her because Justin's good at everything and Nani's good at listening. I was like, shade. But D and Derrick, like I said, they won. Ashley and Theo came in second. Not Theo. Ashley and Leo came in second. Sydney and Turbo came in third. Olivia and Will came in fourth. Nani and Justin came in fifth. Cedric and Michaela came in sixth. Jake and Anissa came in seventh. Now, at this point, Theo is on trying to walk the pipe, and he falls. And Michaela says, not Theo's big ass sitting here trying to get up there. Harmless. Olivia gets in her confessionals talking about something. Michaela, you good? Shut up. We don't need the drama. I said, say that to her face next time. Get out them confessionals. Remember I said that because Olivia, but she playing it smart though. Even though I'm stating this, she's playing it smart because the way she moves, I see it as smart now. But in terms of like on some like, if you're gonna try and check somebody's temperature, don't do it in the confessionals. Do the shit in real time. But America and Leroy, they finished 9th, and Gabe and Johnny finished 10th. It was down to them two versus Yeremi and Aviv. Yeremi and Aviv were last. They're going straight into the arena. We get back to the house, and I'm flying through this because we got so much to talk about from the nominations on. We're going to get to it. But back at the house, well, not even the nominations. Like, it was before. Like, this was go. We didn't even get like a leave the house type of shit because we didn't need it. All the shit that was going on in the house, A1, good TV. But back at the house, Anissa, Olivia, and I said Anissa, Olivia, and Anissa. I don't know who else was in there, but we know Anissa and Olivia were in there. Theo, that's who it was. They were in there trying to target Ashley and Leo. Theo thinks that he can get Turbo to pretty much get on their side and become a number, but he's worried about Gabe. Did he say Gabe or Jake? I can't remember. But Michaela, she's in there talking to Leroy, Ashley, Aviv, and Nani, pretty much stating D wants to throw in Anissa, and we see that conversation that she had with D. Michaela wants Theo and Adrian to go in against Yeremi and Aviv. She tells us, because it's a win either way for her, a team that she ain't working with, which is Theo and Adrian, or a marathon runner, Yeremi, or a former challenge champ, Aviv, would go home. Even though she's working with Aviv, she knows she needs to go home. And that doesn't put blood on her hands because she's already in the elimination. So at that point, throwing somebody who could possibly send her home, which will get that strong team out of the way too. But then again, it's numbers. But then again, you have a lot of numbers at this point in time. So if you got the numbers to where you can afford to lose a number, I'd be trying to get rid of the ones that could possibly beat me. But Leroy then says that they just don't know where Gabe and Johnny are at and what are they going to do? Michaela says Theo and company, they're going to try and pick a name for Gabe to vote for. And that the only way they can get some numbers is if Gabe and Johnny and Sydney and Turbo vote the same. Michaela clocked it. That's literally what they were over there trying to get is Gabe and Johnny and Sydney and Turbo. But Nani then says, like, Turbo and Sydney just got to stop burning. Like, they got to stop burn voting, which is the truth. Michaela says, let's just not say anything. Let's just be quiet. Let's agree. They all put their hands in. Be quiet on 3. Be quiet. That should crack me up. But Derrick and D, they host a costume party. They play a game. I did want to talk about this. Both partners had to answer the question, so they was asking a bunch of questions. But we get to Gabe and Johnny. And their question was what year their partner graduated high school. Johnny's trying to answer the question. She's like, oh, I think he was born in 1999. And he makes a face and she's looking at him and she's like, right. He like shoos her away. And America was me. Like, what is this attitude for? I'm like, what the fuck? His disdain for Johnny is weird to me. It's just like, even if you don't like her, that's still your partner. You got to make shit work if you want to win. But Sydney was like, in her confessionals, he's such a shitty person and I feel bad for Johnny. I said, yeah, he claims he's more socially connected than she is, but yet everybody sees how weird you are towards her. You think that's going to go over well with these women in the game? Like, you think the men don't want you out of here, but you think... But after the game, Leroy then he's asking if Gabe would stake a claim. And everybody's talking about, like, I feel like he might do it. Like, I feel like he might make the move. Theo is in this conversation too, but he feels that this would give him a chance to stay safe, which it would. Because he knows, like, if Gabe goes to stake his claim and he loses, he and John A will go straight into the elimination, which would then leave Theo safe. Smart move. Theo thinks this is the best option, is to try and get Gabe to do what he wants. Theo's playing the game. He finally woke up and decided to play the game. But the next day, Gabe and John A, they're having a conversation, and she tells him that she was approached by Theo to come together on a vote to possibly throw in Ashley. They showed a flashback of them in the closet talking. He asked her, I think either he asked her or she asked him, but regardless, he threw Ashley's name out. Remember that. He threw her name out. John A said, I got to go run it back with my partner. So she runs him down on the numbers, basically like, they need us as a number to make sure that what they want to have go down is what they want to go down. So she was like, okay. She said, I told him, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna have to go talk to my partner. So she then says they're over there freaking out because they don't have the numbers to save each other. That is 100% the truth. But he then says, no, I wouldn't say that. I said, bro, you're why are you trying to be so combative with your own partner? Why don't you listen? You can tell he's just answering to disagree with what she's stating. She's telling you the truth, and you think she's just gonna come to you and lie? Like, what? But John A tells us he doesn't have a political game, which he doesn't. It's like, I have never seen him talk strategy with anybody. I haven't seen him game with anybody. Yeah, he's close with Jake and Leo, but we ain't seen them really talk game together. Jake and Leo have definitely talked game with other people. We've seen that, but we haven't seen Gabe talk game with anybody, which is why I'm like, where are you getting this? Like, my social game is this, my social game is that. I'm like, what? But John A tells us that too, like, I have experience. I've made it to the end before, but he's so closed off, which he is. And you can't be that way when you're in a partnership. Even if you don't like him, you have to make it work. But she then tells him they're going to have to make a game time decision that's best for their game. And he then tells us that he doesn't trust her because that's his alliance. Leo and Jake wouldn't ever vote for each other. And that just doesn't make sense. I said, to save their own ass, they wouldn't vote for each other. Like, that's his whole. I'm like, where is your brain at when it comes to the game? But Jake, he then comes into the room with Theo and Olivia, asking them if they told Gabe that they was gonna throw in, or essentially to throw in Leo. They deny it. That is a lie. That is a lie. He then says that Gabe just said that Theo spoke to John A, telling her that he did. Theo denies it. Smart. He's not stupid. Like, Theo in this particular instance with his strategy, he's playing it right. But he says that you better go tell her. This is Jake telling Theo. Olivia sitting there talking about something. I don't know what John A's deal is. She playing it up too. But Theo then is sitting there talking about how John A's being a loudmouth. I'm like, it's literally the opposite. She literally went to her partner and they were talking secluded. The one that's the loudmouth, I ain't gonna say the loudmouth because he wasn't loud, but he loose lips was Gabe. He the one that went and talked to everybody else. Because she went and talked to her partner like she told you she was going to do. Her partner's the one that went running his mouth. But Theo is planning to use this against John A, which is smart because he's going to get what he wants accomplished by doing this. So he then goes to her, brings her in the room with him and Olivia and co. And they ask if it's true. And John A says it's not what happened. Olivia tells her, like, you just go in there and squash it. So John A tells us that her and Gabe can't get on the same page. Everybody's essentially looking for a reason to vote them in. And she's trying to make sure that he's not going to get manipulated and make him basically believe, or at least have them other people manipulating him to think that she's a bad partner. I said, John, you don't realize it, but he already thinks that. He's been thinking that from jump. Don't know why, but he is. But she goes to Gabe, and he says he's confused. And she says, I mean, I am too. He then says that he had 3 more conversations because she pulled something out of thin air. What? Like, how do you come to that conclusion? She was like, I mean, you didn't have to have those 3 conversations. He said that he did because it wasn't even true. I don't trust your social game. That's going to make me want to stake a claim. Like, what? I'd have been like, you are a fool. Like, you literally are getting played. That's the whole point. You're doing exactly what they wanted you to do. But she then says that's what you wanted. Like, that's literally what you want to do. He then says not now, talking about staking a claim, but he essentially, him stating not now means that he's going to eventually do it. But he says, I'm stating just stop lying. I said, you don't even know how to play the game right. Like, what? But he then says, you just broke my trust again. I said, stop lying because you never You never had trust in her to begin with. Like, how could she break something that was never there? But she then says, okay, so she better than me. I'd have cussed him out. But Gabe then gets to Leo and Theo, and he's telling them what John A had said and how he had thought, I wrote Leo and Theo. I think it was Theo and Jake. Where Leo came from, I don't know. But he was telling them what John A said and how it didn't make sense. Jake says she made it up. Theo is sitting there like, I mean, what I said was is there anybody's name that you can't say? And he says that he told her that he had a preference but didn't say a name. That is a lie. He did state the name, but of course he's going to play it up to Gabe because he's trying to get Gabe to do what he wants. Smart. Theo says if Gabe's not happy about it, he can stake his claim and I'll be safe. I did the same thing. But Jake then tells Gabe, you got to do what you got to do, but know that there's a mole in here and it's John A. Him and Olivia and Theo are literally playing with Gabe. Jake is doing it unknowingly. Olivia and Theo are doing this knowing what they're doing. So Olivia's like, you need to stake a claim. Like, you need to do it. You can beat X, Y, and Z. They playing his dumb ass, and he's literally letting them play with him. So they're telling him he can beat anybody. But we get to the nomination. This is where it gets good. Let me take a drink real quick. Hold on. So TJ then asks, anybody want to stake a claim? Olivia's sitting over there looking at Gabe. And guess what he does? Dummy. I'm like, you fool. Michaela was me. You playing in them people's hands. I'm like, hello? Like, what? Like, what? Michaela then says he chooses to stake a claim on a day where he would have been safe. I'm like, you fool. You wouldn't have had a conversation with 3 people, but you didn't talk to the rest of the house to then make a decision. Only 3 people could tell you one thing, but you got a whole other house of people that could be voting, and you can get other people to state, I'm not going to vote for you, yet you want to do this. Literally. So Theo's obviously here for it, but Gabe decides to stake his claim, and he's talking about he wants to stake it on Justin and get Nani. I said, Nani? Somebody else said it. I don't know who said it, but you got Michaela sitting there. You got Olivia sitting there. You got Ashley sitting here who's won twice. You got, who else is over there? You got D. You got Sydney. And that, no disrespect to Nani, but like that's where you want to go. But they show a flashback of Olivia like really riding at home, manipulating him. Pick Justin because I think you can beat him. I truly believe Olivia knew and thought that Justin was gonna beat him. Like I do. But Justin then says like I'd never been so pissed in my life. But Nani says to Gabe, we've never even worked together. We've never really talked games. So what would make you want to choose me? She don't want to be his partner because she don't want to screw her game. But Michaela then asked him, how would that benefit you? Like, walk us through your strategy. He can't even tell you. He can't even tell you because he don't even know the strategy behind it. He just got played. So Theo, with them ashy lips, decides that he wants to start pointing, talking to Michaela, stating that he don't have to explain himself to you. She said, get your fucking fan out of my face. I said, that's my girl. That is my girl. And it's funny because Theo and Co all season have been trying to paint it like Michaela be talking mess in the confessionals, but don't have that energy in real time. Those of us that know Michaela Bradshaw from Survivor when she first got on TV, Michaela ain't never been scared. She always states her mind in the confessionals and in real time. And in real time, your breath is hot. Your breath is nasty. If you don't know, go watch her first season of Survivor. Like, Michaela ain't scared of nobody. She ain't scared of nobody. But she says that. Also, Olivia, your boy going back and forth with Michaela. Where's that confessional energy? And I'm stating that. But then again, it is smart. When I think about it from a game perspective, her sitting there being quiet, I wouldn't have said shit either at this point because the heat ain't on me, even though that's her boy. But, I mean, look, he playing with it. But Michaela, she then tells Gabe, good job saving Theo from going in. Like, hello, like you literally just wrote your own way out of here. So he then says, we ain't going in, you're going in. But TJ then pulls Gabe and Justin to go do the competition. Michaela says, good job. Now you got a 50-50 shot of pretty much letting him get in your head. She ain't lying. But John A says it's fucked up because it is. And Ashley ends up asking, like, did you know what he was doing? And she said she had a feeling. But TJ, he's out there with Gabe and Justin pretty much running them through their pretty much duel, essentially. And they have to race up a mountain, solve a puzzle, get back down the fastest. And whoever does it the fastest wins. So they up there hiking up there. And Justin tells Gabe, like, if you make it through and you steal Nani, she's not gonna work with you, and you're gonna be back where you literally started. It's like true. But back over there at the nominations, they in there knucking and bucking. Ashley telling Olivia and Theo, y'all told Gabe that he was gonna go into the elimination, and that wasn't true. They did, and it worked for them. They got what they wanted out of it. But Theo then says he's a grown man. I didn't tell him to pick Nanny. He said Nanny. Her name was Nani. It's that accent though. But she's like, wow. Leo says, I mean, you came in stating that you was going to pick us. Like, y'all was going to put us in there. Theo says, I can't complain. I can't mention people to put on the table. It's okay for y'all to rally against me and I can't say anything. Ashley said, we only rallied against you because you said our names first. I simply said, this is what we should do as a group. And that's what our side did. Theo then says, we don't have an alliance. Ours is spread thin. Michaela slid him. When I tell you, she folded the fuck out of him, which is cracking me up because I know they filmed that reunion and I'm pretty sure she did it again today. But Michaela said, how many was with y'all when CT, Rogan, Izzy, Tay, Derrick were all here? How many of that was with y'all? Why that list don't count? Like, why it don't count? They are like, ooh. And I was sitting there like, get him. Because it's true. It's like he's sitting here acting like he ain't never had no numbers. You've had numbers. Your team just was stupid. Like, when you look at how Izzy played the game, CT just got. Rogan, I done forgot how he got sent home. Tay just got. Derrick was dumb. So, like, at that point, you had numbers. They're just gone. We just outplayed you. But in this moment, y'all outplayed Gabe. But he then says, that's not the point. Everybody's a pussy. This is when my favorite came up in here. Turbo don't play about that pussy shit. Turbo got turned the fuck up. He said, don't you ever call me a pussy. He said, I'm saying it like a man. Nani is my number one. She's first for me. He said, you could not call me pussy. And he said, if Nani is on the table, if Nani's not on the table, I'm going to vote with you. Basically, anytime Nani's on the table, don't ask me for a vote because you know I'm not going to vote against her because that's his number one girl in the game. So Theo then says, I wouldn't do that to you. I'm a better friend than you. Turbo slides him too and says, if Olivia was on the table with me, what you doing? Like, who you going to vote for? He says, that's my girlfriend. Okay, and that's the point. That's your number one girl, just like Nani's his number one girl. So, of course, he's not going to do it. So, just like you wouldn't do it, you just proved his point. Like, it's like Theo was getting hit from every angle. And my thing is, Theo would have came out of this looking better to me and probably to the house if he would have just owned his move and just kept it what it was. He's sitting there trying to play like he the victim and he the underdog or whatever. You did what you did for a reason. Like, just stand in the shit. But Turbo says that. And Olivia says in her confessionals that Turbo just wants any excuse to drop Theo and says like he's a man up for his honor. So where's it at? I said, he's playing the game. He's playing the game. Why would he attach himself to y'all? I don't understand it. But she always talking in the confessionals, but didn't say nothing in real time. But Michaela goes and whispers to Leo as they're having this conversation in this debacle. She's like, if Gabe comes back, we need you to vote Theo or Olivia. Leo's like 100%. But Turbo says he's pissed at Theo because he's a dishonorable piece of shit character. But TJ comes back to the group. And he says, we're going to bring back in who won. And Justin come back in there popping his shit. I said, I know that's right. He whooped him. Whooped him. I was so happy. I said, damn, Gabe, you really got played. So him and Nani embrace Justin and Nani. But she's excited. She's proud of him. She's happy because she knows with the whole stake the claim, once you stake that claim and you either lose or you win, regardless, those are going to be the set partners. So Justin and Nani, they're going to be set partners. Nobody can try and steal either one of them going forward for the rest of the game. So they know they're good. Gabe and Johnny, they're now in the elimination against Yeremi and Aviv. Johnny said, I warned him. I just don't understand because we could have came together and there would have been no chance that we would have gone into the elimination. I don't think they would have. But Theo's feeling himself, obviously, because he good now. He's safe. Like, he got exactly what he wanted out of it. But he says he does hope that Gabe does come back to win because obviously that's a number that he knows that he would have. If Gabe would have won, he definitely would have had that. If Gabe beat Justin, Theo definitely would have really had him in his back pocket. I'm sitting here questioning if Gabe would have won this elimination, if he would have came back and still would have been numbers up with Theo, considering the fact that he got played. But we'll get to it. But Aviv, she wants to know the details on how this all happened. So everybody's essentially in there, and Aviv asked Gabe, who made you think that you was going in when that wasn't even the case? He says, I had a conversation with Theo. Everybody says exactly. Like, hello, he got what he wanted out of it. Aviv's like, stop. Like, let him finish talking. So he then says, like, he had a conversation with Olivia, Jake, everybody that is literally pushing a narrative on you, pushing their motive onto you. Aviv says, like, essentially, why didn't you come to one of us? Like, he said, because people were burning votes. I said, like, what? He then says, I made a bad decision. I have to pay for it. Absolutely. But what was cracking me up with this whole scene, if y'all didn't catch it, Anissa's in the back making toast, and you know she don't give a fuck. She just in there to listen, but she don't give a fuck. That shit had me laughing. But Aviv tells him essentially, like, if you come back and work with us, like, at this point, just think about what people are telling you. Like just think about that. But Gabe tells us that he thinks that there was some conniving going on, but Johnny also had a part in it, because if I could trust her from day one, it would have fell on deaf ears. You always trying to make Johnny a problem. Johnny was not wrong. And I know you see it now and you probably feel stupid, but like, you just didn't want to trust her. And it's like, you don't even know why you don't trust her. Like, that's the weirdest part. But Anissa, she's in a room with Olivia. Olivia asked her how she feels about everything that just went down. And she and Adrian, Anissa and Adrian was like, I feel like Theo arguing didn't do him any favors. It didn't. But Olivia's saying, I'm not stating that he's wrong, because it is bullshit that Turbo is having all these other people's backs. But we're essentially doing the same thing that they are. They just have more numbers. That is the truth. But Turbo's over there telling Yeremi, I ain't burning no more votes anymore. I ain't burning them. So we get to the elimination, and it's called Pull It Together. They had this giant wall in the middle, and they got one side with a giant cargo net. And one of the players will start at the bottom. They'll climb up the top of the cargo net. They have these pegs up here, and they have to pull each of them pegs out and drop them to the ground. The other partner, who's not up there, is going to have to take those pegs, punch them in the walls, which they're going to eventually basically make a rock climbing. And the first team to climb to the top will win. They begin. John A ended up hitting Gabe with one of the pegs. I want to know if that was intentional or not. But Michaela was clocking Gabe again. Like, you thinking that John A is the worst girl here, yet she's sitting here neck and neck with the girl most people want to literally have as a partner. Like, but Aviv and Yeremi won. Hate that for John A, but I love seeing somebody get played. Like, it's crazy. Aviv and Yeremi win. Gabe is crying. John A is still supporting this man after all this shit he done put her through. All this shit. She a better person than me. But next week, Turbo is still turned the fuck up. Still turned up. This is the longest recap I think I've ever done of the challenge on here. So this season is eating down, man. It's so good. We are on episode 11, going into episode 12. I have not been invested in a season of this show like this in so long. I have never been so excited to see the next episode. I've never been typing so much on Twitter with my thoughts watching it as much as I have this season in so long. I don't think I've talked and typed like this since War of the Worlds. But if you haven't already, give me that. Thumbs it up, get in the comments, share the video, subscribe if you're new, and I will see y'all next Wednesday. It will be on Wednesday. I'll see y'all then. Peace.